Sorry kit kaayo. Nagtinangagit ko. O ako magtuo nga. Mao di tigi pasabot niya bahin sa pickles. Nga dili din niya pabutangan kay allergic di siya.
Sige lang, naitabo ng tanan.
Pasaylo ako.
Dagan digag lain bang chance. Ugunta, di na ka mapalpak ni higayon. Usa na sa bantayanan, kayo na to. Kung unsay mga allergy sa mga customers, kay delikado ang ilang kinabuhi sama sa naitabo ganina.
Oh, River. Promise. Magbantay na ko sunod.
Ako nagkatrabaho mangyug ko kananan sa una. Kinahanglan nga magbantay gyud ka kung unsay gusto o dili gusto sa mga customers.
Unsaon nga. Lahi magud unta ang trabaho nga akong gianhi. Dili man kining trabaho
Unsa ka kung muuli na lang ka?
Pa. Hingian ako diri. Og dili ko mo atras tungod lang ani.
Sige. Ay, nala, bahala ka god.
Pa. Hello? Pa? Gipaw man niya.
Maayo kay, okay rin yung kadiha.
Ngano nagsige makag-monitor na ako, oy.
Ay, dasila no. Okay, sige. So, ang gugo ni mama. May ipapangutan ka permi kung kumusta ka diha. Kay basig may problema ka, ya di lang ka masulti nila.
Okay ra ko din Wakay angay kabalakaan. Bilibagin ako ni Ate Marisa, oy. Nagunahon na gyud siya na ako. Gusto na akong magpasalamat niya. Niya pa ba kasi sa bahay, no? Akong suwek ato siyang kwarto. Niya na ako tungod sa pultahan.
Ayaw lagi, kay ginoo kaayo.
Mabada na gusto na. Magdili ka.
Nailan ko yung lalaki sa Timarisa. Sa mga kaibat-iyon sa akong best friend, Ani.
Nabalaka ko sa akong nahibawan, Priscilla. Dili ko makatuo nga makahimo og binuang si Ate Marisa sa papa sa akong best friend. Nalibog ko kung musulti ba ko sa tinuod sa akong best friend o dili pa.
Dili na lang ko mong padayon og tuktok. Dili ko gusto mahibawaan at Marisa nga nahibaw kung may lain siyang lalaki. Pero nga akong best friend in town. Unsaon ka na ako siya pagsulti.
Sultihis tinuod.
Sure ko nga na siya lalaki nga koyog sa sod. Pero wa ko makakita.
Daan pagit lagi ko. Salamat kayo kay honest kay kanakot say. Tinuod gina kang miga.
Siyempre, uy. Best friend ko ti ka.
See? Giing nang bitaw.
River.
Miyara ko. Okay?
Ay, nga naman ko, uy. Magsigim ko kuna-una ni River. Niyapag na matingal ko. Ayaw kong ina nga nakagusto ko niya. Oh, hinuon. Kesa may dili. Gwapo. Buotan. Kugihan. Pero, di lagi pwede. Di ko makatugtungot ni mo, River.
Ganun ang kitog.
Aha?
Parang gusto mong mga mata, oh. Nagkitom yung mata.
Koan. Nabaguhan lang siguro ko sa bago na ko environment.
Pero, di man na yung anak sa niyagi mga daw.
In love na kabayot.
Aha?
Ay kag ina, wa pa ka magkasuway nga ma-in love.
Nakasuway naman, pero... Lahi mo to kong gibati, good. Dili man samaan niya nga, dili ko makatog, magsigi ko na huna niya.
Oh, di ko pungi good, ayaw pungi mong kagalingon good. Sa thesis sa iyong gipati bang?
Ha? Uy, di pwede, uy. Usa pa, dili na mo akong gianhi din eh. Trabaho nga kung tuyo din og dili uyab-uyab.
Oh, bahala ko. Ay pag mahayapon, mailog si Sulain.
Ha?
Breathing the same air, sharing the same water sources, creating the perfect conditions for a biological catastrophe. Rome was strong, but strength built on such density and interconnection was also fragility waiting to be exposed. The disease came from the east, riding the same routes that had brought Rome its wealth. In the winter of 165 AD, Roman legions under Lucius Verus were besieging Seleucia, a wealthy city on the Tigris River in Mesopotamia. The siege was brutal. Soldiers lived in close quarters, often in unsanitary camps for months. Then, during the sack of the city, something invisible entered the Roman ranks. The pathogen was likely variola major, smallpox in its most lethal form, though some historians suggest measles or a combination of both. It had travelled from further east, possibly from Han Dynasty China, along the Silk Road and maritime trade routes. The virus found its perfect vector in the Roman military. Tens of thousands of men marching thousands of miles, interacting with local populations at every stop, spreading through crowded winter barracks. By late 165, soldiers were dying in alarming numbers. The symptoms were unlike anything Roman physicians had documented. High fever struck first, followed by violent coughing and throat inflammation so severe that breathing became difficult. Then came the gastrointestinal phase. Diarrhea turned black, indicating internal ulceration and bleeding. But the most horrifying symptom was the rash. Pustules erupted across the entire body, blackish and filled with putrefied blood. Many victims died within days. Those who survived were left permanently scarred, their faces pocked with deep marks that identified them as plague survivors for the rest of their lives. As the legions began their long march home, they carried the virus with them. It spread to Smyrna on the Aegean coast. It reached Syria. By 166, it had crossed into Italy. The moment of maximum transmission came with the imperial triumph. When Lucius Verus and Marcus Aurelius paraded their victorious troops through Rome, 100,000 spectators packed the streets. For hours they stood shoulder to shoulder, cheering as soldiers, many already infected, marched past. The celebration was a biological weapon, seeding the virus into every quarter of the city. Within weeks, Rome was burning with fever. The speed of the collapse was terrifying. In the first weeks, people tried to maintain normalcy. Markets stayed open, senators convened. The baths, those great social centers of Roman life, continued to operate and became death traps, their warm, humid air perfect for respiratory transmission. But as the death toll mounted, the city's carefully maintained order began to fracture. Galen, the most famous physician in the empire, documented the progression with clinical precision. Patients arrived with high fevers and foul breath. Within 2 days, the rash appeared. By day 5, many were coughing up internal scabs, pieces of their own lungs and throat lining. The mortality rate was roughly 25% of those infected. In a city of 1 million, with transmission moving at epidemic speed, the arithmetic was catastrophic. At the height of the plague, 2,000 people died every day in Rome alone. The sheer volume of death overwhelmed every system. The city's funerary services, already strained by routine mortality, collapsed completely. Roman culture placed immense importance on proper burial, the ritual washing of the body, the coins on the eyes, the procession to the tomb. These traditions ensured that the soul could pass to the underworld, and that the living would not be polluted by improper contact with death. Now, there were simply too many corpses. The professional undertakers, the libitinari, could not keep pace. Bodies piled up in the narrow streets of the Subura. Some families, desperate and terrified, dumped their dead in the Tiber River. Others left them in open-air pits once reserved for executed criminals. The smell of decomposition mixed with the smoke from cremation fires that burned continuously on the city's outskirts. Marcus Aurelius was forced to intervene directly. He ordered the imperial treasury to pay for mass burials, trying to restore some semblance of order and prevent ritual pollution from spreading panic even further. But the breakdown extended beyond funerals. Town councils could not meet because too many magistrates were dead or dying. Courts closed. The legal system, which depended on a functioning bureaucracy, ground to a halt. The grain dole became irregular as dock workers and transport crews fell ill. Food prices doubled, then tripled. Fear became the city's dominant emotion. Physicians like Galen fled to their country estates. The wealthy retreated to isolated villas, practicing a form of social distancing that was only available to those with resources. The poor had no such option. Trapped in their crowded insulae, they watched neighbors die and waited for the fever to find them. In this atmosphere of terror, the bonds that held Roman society together began to snap. Families abandoned sick relatives, walling them into their rooms to die alone. Parents fled, leaving children behind. The moral fabric that Romans prided themselves on, pietas, familial duty, civic, responsibility, was revealed to be contingent, a luxury that evaporated when survival was at stake. When medicine fails and death surrounds you, the human need for explanation becomes desperate. Traditional Roman religion operated on a transactional basis, performed the proper rituals, and the gods will favor Rome. But this framework offered no comfort when temples themselves became sites of infection, when priests died as quickly as beggars, when prayers seemed to vanish into an indifferent sky. Some turned to prophets promising soup.
Ang simpleng ulam, nagiging mas masarap. Jolly Mushrooms Pouch, 20 pesos lang.
What are the biggest pitfalls in beauty sourcing? High MOQs, locked cash, fake specs, wrong goods. New items, no safety net. Alibaba.com helps you avoid these traps. Source directly from Chinese factories. Transparent pricing, fast style updates. Low MOQs available. Some items start from just one piece. Choose suppliers with trade assurance to give your order added protection. Visit Alibaba.com now. Search beauty and hair tools and source with confidence.
In supernatural protection, the cult of Glycon, led by a charismatic charlatan named Alexander of Abonotikos, gained explosive popularity. Alexander claimed that his snake god could ward off the plague cloud through sacred verses. He sold thousands of amulets carved with protective charms. Shorn Phoebus, keep away the cloud of plague. Archaeological evidence shows these amulets spread across the empire. People paid substantial sums for what amounted to carved rock, not because they believed the magic was real, but because they needed something, anything, to hold on to when rational medicine had failed. Lucian of Samosata, the satirist, later exposed Alexander as a fraud who used a snake puppet with a human hair wig to simulate divine manifestations. But the exposure came too late for the thousands who had spent their savings on useless charms while the bodies piled up outside their doors. In contrast, the Christian community, still a small, marginalized sect in Rome, responded with practical action rather than mystical promises. Christians believed in an obligation to care for the sick, even at personal risk. While many pagans fled the city or refused to approach infected family members, Christians often stayed behind to provide basic nursing: water, food, cleaning. This care did not cure the disease, but it significantly improved survival rates. A patient who received hydration and nourishment had a far better chance than one left to die alone in a sealed room. This behavior had consequences beyond survival statistics. Neighbors who witnessed Christians risking their own lives to care for strangers, including non-Christians, were moved. The Christian promise of resurrection, of an afterlife where this suffering would be redeemed, offered meaning to senseless death in a way that traditional Roman religion could not.